Okay, so this is photo manipulation assignment, image 4, or the letter P in the word crop. So in this one, what we are going to do is we are going to replace this little girl's missing tooth. So, as always, make a copy of our image, turn that one off. Now, I suggest that you guys use the patch tool along with the clone stamp tool, and so you really have to figure out what works best for you. So, here we have the patch tool. The patch tool, you want it as content aware, and essentially what the patch tool does is you should be able to highlight an area and then move it over. Now you notice I gave her 2 gaps. So Control D to deselect. You want to select the area that we want to replace. Now you'll notice it looks a little weird. So sometimes you have to go a little bit bigger on the gums. Oops, went the wrong one. So let's say we select from here down and we'll see what we get. Now, that tooth looks a little weird, doesn't necessarily look the best. And also, if you've noticed, I did it on the actual copy, so now I can't make any changes. It's done. I can't undo it. So, this is why we always make a copy and then we make a new layer. We always work on a new layer. Okay? So that's the exact reason why we do that. So, I'm going to now show you how the clone stamp works. With the clone stamp on, you want it to be normal, opacity 100, flow 100, sample all layers. Because we're working on a new layer, we need to sample the layer before. So we're going to make our brush about the size of the tooth. Oops. So right about there. I'm going to hold down Alt and then you can select it over. Okay, so obviously that looks better than the patch tool. However, it's identical to this tooth over here. So what I like to do is I like to take my move tool, top one, make sure you're selected on layer 1, go up to edit and go down to transform, and we are going to want to reflect it. So let's do flip horizontal. So now it looks the same, however, it's identical. Because our teeth, even though we have the same teeth on each side, they do have a tendency to grow in a certain way. So now see how this is on its own separate layer? I can actually move this around. I can even use my arrow keys to slightly adjust this to get it right where I want. I also can zoom in and you'll notice that it's got this little shadow around it, right? So I'm going to kind of put that there. I'm going to use my erase tool. Now we usually don't ever use the eraser tool. However, I want to erase that weird little gray tinge. So I'm going to just use a small brush to kind of clean that part up. So now you can see that we have this tooth and you can kind of move it around a little bit. The next part, if you really wanted to, you could actually adjust colors, but we pretty much made a copy of it. It's just a little bit darker. You can even warp it. So I can go in here to edit and go down to free transform. And we can do warp, which allows us to actually change the image a little bit. So if you feel that your image is a little too crooked or a little too out of place, you can always come in and just warp it a little bit, change things up. Once you have a new tooth, you can go ahead and save this file and turn it in.